All right, welcome you guys. So now we have to graph the square root of x plus 2. So we can't substitute something like a -3 in, just FYI. And that's because -3 plus 2 is -1, and we can't square root negatives, okay? Okay, so the smallest number we could possibly plug in would actually be -2. Because -2 plus 2 is 0. And 0 we actually can't square root. Square root of 0 is 0. Okay. So that's the smallest number that we can substitute in and actually get a value out, 0. And now after that, you might pick a couple other values, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, whatever. Okay. So let's go ahead and substitute -1 in. -1 plus 2 is 1. That's a nice number. There's the square root of 1. Now you'll notice that when we substitute 0 in, 0 plus 2 is 2, and the square root of 2 is a really ugly number, right? It's going to be like 1.4-ish. Show you guys that. Look at that. That's hideous, okay? So I probably wouldn't use that number when I'm going to my math lab to put this in, okay? So let me go and see what they have going on here. These are really, let's graph it ourselves first, and then we'll go look at that, okay? So when we substituted in -2, which is right here, we got 0. When we substituted in -1, we got 1, okay? And when we substituted in 0, we got around about 1.4. So let's pretend this is 2. 1.4 might be right here. But anyhow, this is going to go on. It's going to be half of a sideways parabola, if you remember in class. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the graphs that they have for us and see if we can find that on here. Now they're really small, so let's click on this to make it bigger. Well, that one's not going to be correct because it's starting right here. I'm sorry, this. Starting right here when it should be starting on the x-axis. If we go back and look at our picture, our very first point is at -2 on the x-axis. So we can narrow out option A. This one looks like it's going through maybe, I don't know, I just have to see what we're counting by 5. So this one looks like it's going through +2. That's not right, we want -2. This one's not even pointing the right way. They can point that way, but ours doesn't. This one's the only one that starts where we said and is going in the correct direction. Remember, we said we don't have any values to the left of -2. Remember, we tried -3 and we got a negative under the root. So we know all the values, if this is -2, have to be to the right of it. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and pick D for our problem here. Okay, so if you're wondering what does make the square root go the other way, like to go this direction, that would be if there was like a negative in front of the x, although they probably wouldn't write it like this. They'd probably write it like this. But you can still see that there's this minus or negative in front of the x either way. And so that's what's going to make it flip and point the other direction, guys. Just FYI in case it shows up. All right, hopefully this helps you with this problem. Take care.